We're past possibility stage, okay, based off of what we're seeing right now occurring on the Florida coast and now the Georgia coast. The tide gauge in Savannah, out by Tybee at Fort Pulaski, is now 2 feet above where it should be right now. So it is climbing, and we're expecting the same thing to happen along the South Carolina coast as we go through the day. We're already starting to get reports of power outages. The storm surge continues here. This is Daytona Beach as we move up to Jacksonville, where Reynolds Wolf there from NBC News and the Weather Channel is right now, has reported the greatest storm surge on record now in Jacksonville. And this is only going to get worse up the Georgia coast and then eventually to the South Carolina coast later this morning. Fort Lauderdale now clearing out. It looks nice down there, and we're looking forward to scenes like that arriving here in the Lowcountry by tomorrow. We've got a long day ahead of us with a large shield of rain overspreading the Lowcountry this morning. In fact, the entire state of South Carolina, the entire state of Georgia right now seeing heavy rain with some tornado watches to our south and even a couple of tornado warnings at times over South Georgia. That tropical air mass now is beginning to move onshore, and you can see those east winds allowing temperatures to climb to near 70 now along the coast, and we're ticking up inland as well. And as we go through the day, those east winds will pick up and replace this cooler air mass with something of a little more tropical nature, with sustained winds now up to around 30 miles per hour on our coast, around 15 to 20 back away from the beaches. And as we look at your current wind gusts, they're gusting to 29 right now in Charleston, gusting into the mid-30s based off of the latest observation along the coastline. But we've seen some gusts up into the mid-40s already this morning. Storm Team 2 live radar showing the heaviest rain right now concentrated back away from I-95, but you can see some heavier showers now beginning to approach the Charleston County coast. Now that might be, see that little hole in the radar there where there's no rain? That might be what we were seeing on the live shot there from the beach club at the Charleston Harbor Resort and Marina as we're getting a little bit of a break. But I want you to watch this band of heavy rain that is screaming toward the coast at 40 miles per hour. And this is where it will impact here as we head through the morning. This will be arriving on Folly Beach by 7, onto Johns Island by 7:19, Ravenel at 7:25, and then to Somerville at 7:40 if it holds together. This one means business. On the north end of this, we'll track it and move it to the west for you. This will be coming onto Sullivan's Island around 7:06, into North Charleston by 7:20 after moving through downtown Charleston at around 7:10. Now again, it will be there by that time. It could go a little bit earlier, and then this one back here has been showing signs of rotation way off the coast. That's one we're going to have to keep an eye on. That could come on shore in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. As we track your forecast hour by hour today, mid-60s at 8 a.m. into the upper 60s at 10. We'll be in the low 70s at 12, into the mid and upper 70s at 2, 4, and 6, with windy conditions expected through the day today, and that's going to last into tonight, with those heavy rain bands continuing and squalls off and on through the day today into tonight and then into the day tomorrow. So let's break down what you can expect with our high-resolution forecast model as the rain will be ramping up in coverage and intensity through the morning. And look at the afternoon hours with a band of very heavy rain coming in. And this is when we're going to be watching for the worst storm surge as well between 9 and 3 o'clock. These are our impacts as we head through the day today. Here's what you can expect. High impacts from storm surge flooding and tidal flooding. High impacts from flooding rain and beach erosion as well. Then we have wind and tornado impacts to talk about on top of that. Storm surge flooding will be highest between 9 and 3. This will cause major flooding along the entire South Carolina coast, centered on high tide at 12:23. Our wind forecast today, we're going to see sustained winds inland between 30 and 40 miles per hour with gusts up to 50. On the coast, that wind speed will ramp up through the midday hours with gusts up to 55. These are sustained wind speeds, not gusts, okay? So we do expect tropical storm conditions on our islands and beaches between about 10 o'clock this morning through 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then the rain totals, look at this large area of heavy rain. And I want to point out something, a little maximum of rain back here west of I-95. Christine and I were talking about that this morning when we saw the way that this was all behaving earlier, that there could be a secondary maximum of rain across interior portions of the Lowcountry back west of 17A, and it looks like the modeling is picking up on that. So all of us, I think, see 3 to 6 inches of rain with isolated 6-inch plus totals with flooding likely. The severe weather threat index is in the elevated category today because of the risk for tornadoes and some isolated wind damage. The 7-day forecast showing a high of 78 today. Morning showers on the way tomorrow. Those should end, I think, by daybreak. And then we get to a pretty decent weather pattern Wednesday, Thursday before we increase that rain chance again as we head toward the weekend. So all impacts are on the table today from a tropical system, even though we're not seeing the landfall here in the Lowcountry, right. Christine. That's what I think has got a lot of people confused, is because this storm is so large, yet we're talking about a storm surge that you would expect from a landfalling hurricane on our coast.
Well, we just got oriented so well with how this is moving up to the north. We get that northeast wind, that persistent northeast wind, and on top of that, the rainfall, everything's just very compounded right now.
The onshore wind started Friday, so we're now at 72 hours of an onshore wind, and the height of the storm isn't even here, and that onshore wind will accelerate through the morning.